welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you my July wrap up. So July was a really good reading month for me. I read 20 books, which is a new high for me, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've reached 20 at all yet this year, like in each month. And I read a lot of good books. Like I had more 5-star reads than anything, and I had a lot of 4-star reads. So I was pretty impressed with the haul that I read. And it was a good mix of genres, I think. I read more thrillers, and I haven't read thrillers in a while, so it was nice to change it up and get away from my usual chick lit and romance genres. And I read quite a few e-arcs as well to use my Kindle that I had gotten from NetGalley, so I had quite a few of those as well. I read a total of 5,123 pages. My shortest book was 60 pages, and my longest book was 417 pages. I had 9 5-stars, 7 4-stars, 3 3-stars, and 1 2-star. And for the genres, I read 9 young adults, 1 middle grade, 3 romances, 2 chiclets, 4 thrillers, and 1 poetry. So I do have some books on hand that I'm just going to show you. I did unhaul some, and I let other people borrow some, and then there were some e-arcs, so I don't have those physical copies. And then I'll focus more on my favorites for the month, and I had 3 new favorites for the month of July. So a good mix. The first book that I read in July is my longest book at 417 pages, and that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I gave this 5 stars. A buddy read with my friend Ellie at Ellie's Little Library, and we read the Selection series. So I read the first book, The Selection, and gave this 5 stars. And it was an e-novella, and that is Love at First Fight by Sunday Menon. It is kind of a prequel to her newest release, The 10 Things I Hate About Pinky, and follows our Dimpleverse characters, Dimple and Richie, Sweetie and Ashish, and Samir and Pinky. It was adorable, and it was a lot of fun. Elite by Kiera Cass, and I gave this 5 stars. The next one I have is my first favorite of the month, and that is The One by Kiera Cass, and I gave this 5 stars. This is the 3rd installment in the Selection series, which follows our main character, America, who gets picked to compete in the selection to win the heart of Prince Maxon and the crown, as Maxon is going to be the next king. We see her go through a lot of different struggles during this and kind of do some self-discovery, and this book was very impressive, and I adored it. I think I read it in one day because I was so addicted to it. And this one I read was the Babysitter's Club graphic novel, which is the first one, Chrissy's Great Idea. It is just a graphic novel version of the original Babysitter's Club stories, and I gave that 3 stars, and I enjoyed it. I didn't end up keeping it, I didn't haul it, but I thought it was enjoyable and nostalgic at the same time. The Air by Kiera Cass, which is the 4th installment in the Selection series, and I gave this 3 stars. The next one is another favorite of mine for the month, and that is What You Wish For by Catherine Center. I gave this 5 stars and loved it. It follows our main character, Samantha, who is a librarian at this school in Texas, and when the principal of their beloved school dies, an old friend, Duncan, is recruited to be the new principal, and Sam remembers Duncan from her old teaching days in another state, which I can't remember where she came from when she went to Texas. And he was the fun-loving teacher. Everyone loved him. He was the coolest, the sweetest. So she's really excited that he's coming back. She also had a crush on him, so she's a little nervous about seeing him again. But when Duncan shows up, he is not at all like he used to be. He's much more rigid and strict, and Sam makes it her mission to figure out what happened and how to get Duncan back to that fun-loving guy that he was before. It was adorable, it was cheesy, and I loved it. Read was the last book in the Selection series, The Crown by Kiera Cass, and I gave that 4 stars. The next book is another favorite of mine for the month. I don't have it on me because I had my mom borrow it, but that was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. It was an excellent thriller. I was very apprehensive going into it because I did not like Lock Every Door, and the last time I lied was okay. I haven't read Final Girls yet, but I did pick it up to read. And Home Before Dark follows our main character, Maggie, who, when she was younger, she and her mother and father lived in this mansion called Bainbury Hall, and at the age of 5, her and her family fled in the middle of the night and were never to return. And Maggie doesn't remember a lot of what happened, but her father wrote a book called The House of Horrors, talking about everything that happened in the house during the time that they were there. And Maggie thinks the book is a bunch of bullshit and she hates it. So when her father passes away and leaves the house in her name, she decides she's going to go back, renovate it, and sell it. But when she goes back, a lot of people are not happy about it because her father's book really made the town have a name for itself that was less than pleasant. So during this time, Maggie kind of realizes that maybe her father was telling the truth about some things, and maybe there are some things that were going on in the house that were real and creepy, and it was so good. It was a classic ghost story. It was so well written. Every other chapter is excerpts from her father's book, so it's nice to read what he was writing, and then it would connect back to the next chapter, which would take place in the present. So you see the past and the present connect, and I thought Sager did a really good job with that. It was very creepy and spooky, and I was not expecting the ending, and it really made me want to read more thrillers. And the book I read after that was The New Girlfriend by Cheryl Brown, which was another thriller that I got from NetGalley, and I gave that book 5 stars. And after that, pick it up, 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sunday Menon, and gave this 5 stars. I then read another thriller, and that is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight, and I gave this 5 stars. Well, 4.5, but I would probably round it up to 5. I had Masquerade by Cyrus Parker, which is a collection of poetry, and gave this 4 stars. My Kindle, and that is In Case You Missed It by Lindsay Kelk, and I gave that 4 stars. Then read Hello Girls by Brittany Cavallaro and Emily Henry, and I gave that 2.5 stars, making it the lowest rating book of the month. Read another thriller, In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, which my best friend is currently borrowing, and I gave that one 4 stars. And read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which is the first in the off-campus series, and I loved this book way more than I thought I was going to, and I gave this 5 stars. I read another romance that I did end up unhauling, and that is Island Affair by Priscilla Olivieras, and I gave that 3 stars. It was another e-arc from NetGalley on my Kindle, and that is Faking It by Rebecca Smith, yes. And I gave that 4 stars. Ambitious TBR for August. I did get approved for a NetGalley that comes out in September, so I'd like to read that in August as well, so I can get ahead of my NetGalleys. I really enjoyed my reading month. I did have a couple books that were mediocre, and I felt like I was hitting a bit of a reading slump, but I will say that these thrillers really picked me up, and I definitely want to read more of them since I have so many, and I'm excited to see how many books I can get through in August. So stay tuned for that wrap up.